Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and today I'm talking about the Pirates of the Caribbean film franchise. So, I have an interesting story in that how I discovered the Pirates of the Caribbean films. Um, at the time, uh, Curse of the Black Pearl was in theaters. I refused to go see it in theaters. This was, I believe, 2003. I was more interested in other movies like Freddy vs. Jason. Um, I'd just seen The Ring the year earlier. I'm sure I was watching Spider Man, X Men movies, the Matrix movies, those sorts of things. Now, up to this point, I had an animosity towards the actor known as Johnny Depp. This animosity is stemmed from watching and hating um, Edward Scissorhands, being forced to watch and hating What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and possibly one or two additional Johnny Depp, Tim Burton films over the years, to where I had developed a very strong aversion to Johnny Depp. So when I found out this movie was coming out and it was going to star Johnny Depp, I was like, no thanks. Now, true story, I had seen A Nightmare on Elm Street at least a couple, two or three dozen times by this point in my life. Like I said multiple times elsewhere, over and over, it is literally my favorite movie of all time. Um, I was not aware that Glenn, Nancy's boyfriend in that movie, was actually played by Johnny Depp. We didn't have IMDb back then. We barely had the internet, and I did not read movie magazines, so I had no way of knowing that was Johnny Depp because I didn't really pay attention to film credits back then either. You know, especially with Nightmare on Elm Street, when the credits are playing, I'm not reading the names on the screen. I'm watching Tina, walk around the boiler room being stalked by Freddy. You know, I'm just not interested in that. So the first time I watched Curse of the Black Pearl was at my sister's house. She had just given birth to her first child, her firstborn son, and I was staying with her for a couple of months to help her with the baby. And she had rented Curse of the Black Pearl as a movie for me, her husband, to watch. And um I was I was apprehensive because she had a tendency to pick movies I hated. She made me sit through the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I never forgave her for. She made me sit through a whole bunch of movies I was never a fan of, including Little Fucking Women, Ever After, fucking Memoirs of a Geisha, and other boring shit like that. So I went into Curse of the Black Pearl with negative connotations, expectations that I was going to hate it. I watched the movie and I got to the end and I was like, I guess, I can see it's a good movie, but still, I can't stand Johnny Depp. So if he wasn't in it, I probably could have enjoyed it, is what I told myself. Now, around this time, because Freddy, like I said, Freddy vs. Jason was in the theaters at the same time, I started buying the Nightmare on Elm Street films on DVD. I got my DVD player, my first DVD player, December of 2002. So I was a year into DVD collecting at this time. And as I was watching the Elm Street movies with the audio commentary, and it became apparent to me that, oh shit, one of the guys in my favorite movie of all time is actually Johnny Depp. Of course, I had to go back and rewatch the movie immediately. And I was like, that's Johnny Depp. He looks so fucking normal here compared to everything I've seen him in. So I was like, okay, maybe he doesn't completely suck. Well, in 2006, I was living with another man um, who had been a friend of mine in high school. He had an apartment, two-bedroom apartment, with his sister, and she moved in with her boyfriend, vacating the bedroom, leaving an opening in his apartment, and he invited me to live with him, so I rented the apartment from him. Now, the weekend she was moving out and I was moving in, I slept on the couch while she, finished cleaning out the bedroom because she left her bed behind for me because she was leaving in a hurry. She wasn't taking everything. Um, so we watched a movie that night, and it was Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. Now, um, this one I had seen trailers for, and again I was like, well, the movie looks cool, but again, it's Johnny Depp. But this time I had softened on Johnny Depp by this point in time, so I decided to go ahead and watch it. And I liked it. I liked it a lot, in fact. I liked it way more than Curse of the Black Pearl. The following summer, At World's End came out, and I did not have a job at that time, 2007, and I did not have money. So I borrowed the movie from the internet and watched it with my friends on a, let's just say, a DVD copy we made ourselves. I had mixed feelings about At World's End. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as Dead Man's Chest. Up to this point, I was starting to like the franchise more and more. So I bought the first two movies on DVD and started watching them semi regularly. Dead Man's Chest was a weekly rewatch. Curse of the Black Pearl was like every maybe couple of months I'd rewatch it just to, refresh my memory of what happened. And as soon as At World's End came out on DVD, I picked that up as well. Um, a legitimate store bought copy. And I started to like that movie a little bit more. I started to appreciate it a little bit more. Sometime in the not too off future from this point in time, they released a fourth movie in the franchise. Already not having fond memories of the first one, loving the second one, having mixed feelings of the third one, I was a little apprehensive about going into the fourth one because I felt like At World's End wrapped up the story sufficiently. I didn't need to see anymore. So I went opening night to the movie theater with my sister and her kids and her family and my mom and dad and everybody. We all went together. It was a big family event because we were going to go see the new pirate movie, Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And I walking out of that movie theater, I think my mom was the only one who said she liked it. I'm pretty sure everybody else walked out of there saying, "Yeah, that was bad." I did not enjoy it. So much so so much so that it was the first one in the franchise I did not buy on DVD. Now, this was around the time I had already upgraded to Blu ray, and I had already replaced the first three movies. I'd already replaced my DVD copies with the Blu ray copies, and I did not buy the Blu ray of it as well. Fast forward to a couple years ago, 21, 22, somewhere in that ballpark, I got Disney Plus for the first time. And I noticed that there was a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie called Dead Men Tell No Lies or something like that. By this point, I was over the franchise. I had no more interest in it. I don't even rewatch Curse of the Black Pearl. If I'm gonna watch if I'm gonna watch Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm gonna watch Dead Man's Chest. If I feel like it, I may follow that up with At World's End, but pretty much that's it. I'm for the most part, I am pretty solidly over this franchise. So I have yet to see this I guess fifth installment in the series in the franchise. Now I know it's not fair to judge a movie you haven't seen. Um and I'm not saying I'll never watch it. I'm saying I have no interest in it. And so at this point in time, I've yet to see it and having no interest in it. I don't see myself running out to watch it anytime soon. But looking back on my history with the franchise and where I am today, you know, I am at the point now where I pretty much only like the second and third one. I never really did like Curse of the Black Pearl. I hated on Tides or whatever the fuck it's called. And just mathematically speaking, considering I've only liked two of the four that I've seen, I just don't know if the odds are good I will like the fifth one or not. Especially considering I only really like Dead Man's Chest. And, I can enjoy At World's End, somewhat, but it's not like my go to Pirates of the Caribbean. For me, it's Dead Man's Chest. That's, to me, not only the best one in the franchise, but as far as I'm concerned, the only good one in the franchise. Stay cool.